Hello everybody, we're now less than 2 weeks away from the big pass horse removal update, and today I wanted to talk about the Pandora's Box and Greyfell part of this update, as well as the new Horses Sent to Heaven and Safe Haven rankings, and whether or not those new rankings will affect your general ranking score. Horse sent out a message to everybody yesterday regarding the update to Greyfell, and I just wanted to clarify a few things because there is a misunderstanding that with this new update, Pandora's Box and or Greyfell will become completely useless, which don't worry, none of those two things are true. They will not become useless. Let's see the changelog section about Pandora's Boxes and Greyfell on the pre-prod server because I think this kind of reading this might help clear it up a little bit. And then after that, I can actually show you a demonstration of how Greyfell currently works on the live server, as well as how Greyfell will work after this update on the pre-prod server, because I do have a Greyfell that I'm ready to get gifts from on both the live server, on the US server in particular, as well as on the pre-prod server. So this is the changelog on pre-prod, and it says that with Pandora's Box, you can now bring back to life only the horses that you haven't sent to heaven yet. To keep getting the bonus offered with your Greyfell Divine horses, their prizes are now offered when they die and no longer when they are sent to heaven. If you had sent Greyfell horses to heaven, they have been sent back to your breeding farm. You've received a message about it. So let's go back and break this down. The key thing here with Pandora's Box is that you can still use them on your horses so long of course as long as they're under the age of 25 or 30 if you're a VIP with the Midas Divine, and as long as they haven't been sent to heaven yet. I think this is where the big confusion is, because when a horse dies on horse, it's not automatically sent to heaven. You have to click a button to send it there. So it's just kind of in limbo until you either revive it or you send it to heaven. So long as you do not click the button to send the horse to heaven, it can still be revived. As for your Greyfell, they've made this process much simpler, I think. It just takes out the step of having to send your Greyfell to heaven, because when he dies, you'll get a message in your office when you log in that day, and it'll say that you've gotten your gifts from Greyfell because he's passed away, and you can either revive him then and there, or you can wait until you get access to a Pandora's Box or whatever. It takes out the step of sending him to heaven. The button to send him to heaven is no longer there to prevent you from accidentally sending him to heaven and getting him stuck. So this process is much simpler. If you do have Greyfell horses that are already in heaven at the time this update goes through, don't worry, they won't be stuck. They will be sent back to your breeding farms. I know what some players do, especially if they have a lot of Greyfell Divines. They'll go ahead, once he dies, they'll send him to heaven so that they get their gifts right away, and then they'll revive him later on when they get around to getting Pandora's Boxes. So there's a good possibility that a lot of players will have Greyfell already in heaven at the time of this update, but they should be sent back to your breeding farm. So how does Greyfell currently work on the live server? This is the US server, my Greyfell. I'm pretty sure he's lived at least 30 days, so I'll get his gifts from him. I don't mess with him, so he should have lived the 30 days. So this is what happens when Greyfell and any horse has died, okay? You get this page and you have a button to either send the horse to heaven or you can revive the horse with the Pandora's Box. For Greyfell, currently, you have to send him to heaven to get the gifts. If I were to revive him right away, I will not get my gifts. So if we look at my pass amount right here, I'm at 1340. I should be at 1360 after I send him to heaven because I'll get 20 passes from him. So I'm going to send him to heaven. And boom, you saw my pass amount there went up to 1360. I got my passes and I did get 20,000 equus from him as well. I'm now going to revive him with the Pandora's Box or passes or whatever. I have one Pandora's Box and there we go. I revived my Greyfell, and then once he's lived another 30 days, then he can pass away and send him to heaven, although 30 days will have long passed after the update or whatever, so I won't ever have to send him to heaven again. Once he dies, I'll get those gifts immediately. So how will Greyfell work after this update goes into effect on January 29th? The process will be much more simple because it takes out that step of having to send your Greyfell to heaven. We're going to go back to pre-prod where you can see that this Greyfell has died. The option to send him to heaven is not there. He's just dead. You don't have to worry about accidentally sending him to heaven and then him getting stuck there because you will no longer be able to revive horses that have been sent to heaven. And I know that I've got my gifts from him because if you look at my office page, it says right here, your Greyfell passed away. You received your passes and equus upon the horse's departure. As soon as you log in, if your Greyfell had died that day, you get the message in your office and you get the gifts. And then you can either revive him right now or wait if you don't have a Pandora's Box or you don't want to use any Pandora's Boxes. You can just go ahead and revive him. So I'm going to revive this Greyfell with some Pandora's boxes, and there we go. It's really simple. You don't have to worry about forgetting to send him to heaven anymore, because I know currently with the requirement of having to send him to heaven to get your gifts, some players will forget to do that, or they think that if they do send him to heaven because he's older than 25 years old, they think they'll never be able to revive him again, and players wouldn't get gifts from him. So this update makes the process of getting your gifts from Greyfell much more simple. I quite like this part of the update. I think this is really nice. Now, how does this work with regular horses? I have this horse here on the pre-prod server. Again, this is on the pre-prod server. This horse has passed away. He is younger than 25 years old, which means he's eligible to be revived with Pandora's box, because unless you have one of the VIP perks with the Midas Divine, you can't revive horses that are older than 25 years old. So this horse has not been sent to heaven. He's just passed away. I have the option to either send him to heaven, revive him, or I can just decide later and I can just leave him sit here in limbo. If I were to send this horse to heaven, I get this message that says, "Are you sure you want to send this horse to heaven? Please note you will no longer be able to resurrect it." If I click to send this horse to heaven, then I can never revive him. Okay, he's just going to be stuck in heaven. That's it. I can't bring him back. However, I can choose to bring him back right now. So let me go ahead and revive him, because I haven't sent him to heaven, and there you go. So if you do accidentally, for some reason, the horse dies, maybe it was underweight and you just never realized it, his health went down, you can still bring the horse back, because you have to manually click to send the horse to heaven. Now, if you look to see what happens on the live server, this is actually on the UK server right now because I had a horse that passed away. This horse is younger than the age of 25 years old. I can either send him to heaven or revive him. On the live server right now, it does let you revive a horse that has been sent to heaven so long as it's under the age of 25. So let me send this horse to heaven and I'll just show you how this works. This horse has been sent to heaven, but look, I do have the option to revive him. But once this update goes into effect on January 29th, you will not be able to revive any horse that has been sent to heaven. Okay, just hopefully that clears everything up. This is just my speculation, but I think the reason why we're not going to be able to revive horses that have been sent to heaven anymore is because of the new horses sent to heaven ranking. If we were able to revive horses that had been sent to heaven, then, you know, players could just use that same horse over and over and over again. You could just have it die, send it to heaven, then bring it back, and boom, it counts for your ranking. But this just removes that possibility. But don't worry, like I said, your Pandora's boxes are still useful. You can still revive horses so long as you do not click the button to send them to heaven. So now let's talk about these 3 new rankings that we're going to get: the number of horses sent to heaven this month ranking, number of older horses sent to heaven this month, and number of horses sold to safe haven, because there's been some confusion about whether or not they will affect the general ranking. So let's go to the best breeders rankings, because this is where those 3 rankings are located. We have the number of horses sent to heaven this month, number of old horses sent to heaven this month, and number of horses sold to the safe haven. I'm not going to get into the whole controversy that's going on about this first one right here. That bush has already been beat around quite a bit, but pretty much unless the general ranking formula changes at some point, these rankings will not affect your general ranking. Okay, none of these rankings actually affect your general ranking. What affects your general ranking score, so if we go to your general ranking, this is your general ranking right here. Even though the general ranking is the title of this whole page, this is your general ranking score right here. What contributes to the score is primarily the skills of your best 10,000 horses, your trophies, and your seniority count a little bit. But it's primarily the skills of your best 10,000 horses. That means that these 3 new rankings, unless they change the general ranking formula at some point, these 3 rankings won't have any bearing on that, so you won't have to worry if you don't feel like taking part in these rankings. That won't affect your general ranking score at all. I hope this clears up some of the confusion regarding how Greyfell will work, Pandora's boxes, and whether or not these new rankings will affect the general ranking formula. I do want to get out a video at some point pretty soon regarding the objectives, just kind of my thoughts, because now that I've been testing this for about 2 weeks and 1 day now, or no, I think it's been 2 weeks today, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I've had enough time to test this that I have a pretty good handle on my overall feelings towards these objectives, and I've recorded pretty much almost every day and every objective that I've had. I think there's about 5 days of objectives that I didn't write down. So I'll be able to share what I've got with you and just share my thoughts on some of that. So let me know if you guys still have any further questions about how Greyfell Pandora's boxes work, and hopefully I can clear that up a little bit more for you. So thank you guys for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.